In my infinite wisdom, I often say that two things can be right simultaneously. And tonight was the epitome of that. That was the best win of Matty Nix's coaching career and the biggest choke job in recent memory. And as a neutral fan, it was brilliant to watch. Let's talk about it. So when you're as big as an offensive juggernaut as the Crows have been up until this week, 68 points doesn't overall suggest a very offensive firepower gifted team, if you will, but the conditions led to that. And what's been so impressive is this is not a once-off for the conditions. The way that they were able to strangle the Giants as well as the Lions, especially late in both of those games, was really impressive to see. And I think the defense is where we need to give the majority of the credit here. Yes, they did have some points of difference up forward, and I'll talk about those throughout this little analysis piece. But overall, that back nine effectively deserve a lot of credit. And whilst, yes, Rory led with his 25 disposals, who made up for the absolutely dumb banana panic kick. And don't worry, we'll talk about what happened after that in the Brisbane section. Don't get me wrong. But outside of Rory Laird, they had, I think Jake Saligo, was it, who had, no, it was Ben Keys, who had 20 disposals. No one else had 20 plus. All right, the old multi-killers, as we like to say. But what was so important about that is they had then only, I think, 7 players that didn't have 10 plus disposals, and I think they had 2 or 3 that had 9. So it was the evenness of that performance that was so instrumental to the Crows getting this victory. And the ironic part about it is I think they were like 1 goal 6 or 6 behinds, definitely at quarter time. So from there, they've gone on to kick 10 goals 2. I think if I can do my math properly, 6 goals 12. Jesus. So massive congratulations, of course, to the Crows. Was outstanding in terms of the players that performed really well. Of course, Ben Keys was dominant. Josh Rochelle coming into his own, the way that Adelaide have effectively molded him into the player they want him to be and deserving of his talent, has been awesome. He was fantastic. That set shot goal was unbelievable, but all 3 of them were just so timely tonight. Yes, Ben Keys's were as well, don't get me wrong. But another thing that was really impressive about the offensive work of the Crows is that outside of Fogarty running into Dawson, the tall forwards never really got in the way. I like the fact that they've put Daniel Curtin on a wing and he had some really clutch moments, the really big tackle in that last quarter. A massive win as well, especially since more so on Brisbane's side, they couldn't really hold a tackle in that last quarter because everyone was knackered. But I thought Wayne Miller did a really good job on Charlie Cameron in open play. Max Michaelani had him inside the forward 50 at stoppage, which burned them once. But overall, those 2 gents did a really good job on Charlie, to be honest. But I think it was really impressive, the fact that they were able to withstand the onslaught. And whilst, yes, conceding 8 scoring shots and then 1 out of bounds on the full from Zach Bailey is not ideal, a few of them were rushed, and B, you are up against the reigning premier here. I don't think that we can go, yeah, well, they didn't win it, Brisbane lost it. It's partially true scoreboard-wise, but let's not pretend like the Crows weren't playing better footy for the majority of this game. I hope that's the case. I don't think that's how it's going to roll, but it's true. And if I'm the only one that says it, that's fine. I'll live with that. The Crows were the better side. It was an almighty choke job. If you believe in footy gods right now that help better teams get across the line, this is the best bit of evidence that you are going to get. They were the better team. Speaking of Ben Keys, his second quarter was one of the best you'll see from a high half forward, considering the conditions. I think he had 7 or 8 disposals, but the majority of his work being done in the back half, rewarded himself, of course, with the first Crows goal. He was outstanding. I still don't like, and look, Sam Berry is going to get credit. He is going to get maligned. He is going to get a lot of feedback. I understand that, but it will never make sense to me as to why they just put another place-holding contested mid and took Rankin out of it. But it does. It was wet, I hear you say. Yeah, look how much better they got around the stoppage when Rankin was going up the ground. Like, I'm still not convinced it's the right answer, but nitpicking in a win this good is something that I'm going to stop doing. I think James Peatling's going to get a week for the tackle on Lachie Neale. Now, for the record, I don't really know where I stand on that. My instincts go, yeah, but Neale wasn't knocked out. But I am also someone that says, well, if someone accidentally gets knocked out, then, you know, we can't judge it on the outcome. So can we also judge it on the outcome when someone's not knocked out? I'm not sure. It wasn't as bad as the tackle on Oisin Mullen, so we'll wait and see how that goes. But Peatling was fantastic. Isaac Cumming had moments, and shout out to Riley O'Brien, who basically had his papers stamped throughout the majority of this season. His last month has been unbelievable. He and Darcy fought. What a battle that was, but O'Brien won a lot of the forward 50 boundary throw-ins, which were key, and of course led to a Rochelle goal, led to maybe another Ben Keys goal. That Fogarty tap back, by the way, was just out bloody standing. And the fact that Taylor Walker is being used as that high half forward. Taylor Walker is effectively in 25 playing very similar to the Tom Lynch role of 2017 at the Crows, except he's much taller and a much better field kick. And even on a night like tonight, and even when Fogarty didn't have a big impact, they did not seem impeded by having 3 tools. That's extraordinary. And a really massive win. Congratulations to the Crows, and as I am fully jumping on board this year, I wasn't wrong about the Crows last year. I was just early. So now let's talking about the reigning Premier, because what the hell was that? It really was quite incredible to watch, because of course a lot of the majority of the analysis, I don't even know if that was a correct sentence, is going to be on that last quarter. But what was so adamant is it just seemed like once the ball went inside 50, the attitude became someone else will do it. Oh, if I don't kick this one, someone else will kick the next one. And it didn't happen. Now, granted, on the surface, I just think this loss might just be a good thing for Brisbane, to be honest. They're the reigning Premier. They're still a top team in the competition. This result does not change that. When 2 top 4 teams play and the result is under a kick, it does not make the losing team awful. I will not subscribe to that in any way, shape, or form. But there is going to be some soul-searching here in a game where Taylor Walker had an impact and Riley Thilthorpe below his knees was really clean in moments. Yes, Eric Hipwood had those moments as well, but we saw the inexperience of Logan Morris. I liked what I saw from Ty Gallop. I totally think it was the right decision to sub him off, by the way. The bloke they brought on, though, is, jeepers, Devrob. My goodness gracious me, my friend. Yeah, not one that you'll remember fondly, unfortunately, my friend. But again, they did so much right in that last quarter, and finishing was the problem. And look, the credits in the bank coming from last year's grand final win is evident, and they do exist, and so they bloody should, by the way. But yeah, the attitude and the mindset of we'll get the next one, just didn't really occur. It was kind of like watching Pakistan field, where the catches are just going down, and you're like, that's all right, they'll catch the next one, and then the next one is an easier catch, and they still drop it. It was absolute mayhem. And look, if that's what it takes for Brisbane to lose a game of footy, it sucks. They'll live with it. But overall, some things to fix. This is obviously with the loss against Melbourne, the draw against North Melbourne. Yes, they were very good. Oh, I think I just knocked the mic there. Sorry. With the awesome performance against the Hawks, nothing's being taken away from them in that regard. But this is not a great 5 weeks, 6 weeks for the Lions. Now, if this is just the mid-year hump before they get back into it, I'm more than okay with that. But in the wet, in suboptimal conditions, are they a little bit gettable? They just might be. Will Ashcroft, though, hell of a player. And shout out Jared Berry, who I spoke about Brandon Starcevic's kind of redemption arc from grand final nightmare to, just taking his game to another level. And I think we've got to open the door for Jared Berry to do that as well, who also had a dirty day in that 23 grand final. But last year he was very good, and he's just going to another level here. Levi Ashcroft, he's obviously getting used to the speed of the games. He wasn't as composed as he maybe could have been. And Dane Zorko had an absolute mare tonight. A genuine mare. It was crazy. This entire game was crazy. And I'm still buzzing, and my team's already won this week. So what a start to the weekend. And just dear the rest of the competition. Don't stuff it up from here. Okay, my Hawks won. We had a belter on Friday. Richmond, Sydney, even though it's probably going to be wet, could still be good. Maybe the wet will bring out both bad teams, bringing us a close scrap. Would be really good. And a couple of other good games tomorrow as well. So fingers crossed that continues. Let me know what you think of the game, guys. Comment below. Let me know. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to join the Daz Talks Footy family. I will see you in the next video. I appreciate all of your support. Goodbye, and see you tomorrow for the Saturday session.